Hey, how you doing? And welcome back to Snook Stories. And today we've got some good stories for you, and particularly some wild "Am I the Asshole" Reddit stories. And you guys have been asking for it for a long time, and I'm here to deliver. You guys have been asking for my opinion on these "Am I the Asshole" stories. So I'll give my opinion, and I'll try to be, kind of forthright for it. I'll throw some of my personality in there, and let me know what you think about it down below in the comments. And just thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. And before we get into it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's the channel's goal to be at 10,000 subscribers, so please consider subscribing and subscribe to the channel. And all right, without further ado, let's get into some wild "Am I the Asshole" Reddit stories. Am I the asshole for breaking my deathbed promise to my wife to take care of her Down syndrome daughter? I, who's 55M, just lost my wife, who's 56F, to cancer. My late wife's entire life was about her 30-year-old daughter, who suffers from Down syndrome and has never and will never have the ability to live independently. Nor will she ever have the ability to ever exercise any real amount of emotion and impulse control. And before you all start in the evil stepdad who doesn't care to understand line of thinking, I want to add that I have been in her life since she was 5 and spent years fearing the day where she was physically developed to the point where punches, scratches, and throwing things were a real threat. Once that happened, all of my wife's friends stopped visiting her house. One of them even said that her uncle deals with vicious dogs for a living, and she feels safer around his workplace than at her house. I, many times, have ended up needing to go to the doctors for the crime of sitting in the same room as my stepdaughter and having her attempt to pound my head in, throw a heavy object at me, or trying to choke me after I had fallen asleep. My late wife was the only one who could reliably calm her down. When we started using caregivers for my stepdaughter after my wife was diagnosed, they would be asking me whether I could enlighten them on a better way to explain things to my daughter when she was going ballistic, when even they, who were used to explaining things to people who just didn't get things, were still struggling and asking for insight. When my late wife was diagnosed, the first word out of her mouth was my stepdaughter's name. She cried every day for what was to become of her. In her desperation, she tried to press the doctor for chemotherapy when it no longer made sense, turned to alternative medicine despite it making her feel worse, saying she would have stopped all treatment if she was only leaving behind an employable, functioning 30-year-old. On her deathbed, she made me promise to not let her fall into the hands of a state care facility. I promised her because I didn't have the heart not to. But now, after my grief fog has cleared 2 months later, my stepdaughter remains the same. She doesn't understand her mom is dead, only that she's gone, and is angry at me for it, saying she'll be good, so bring her back. Caregivers are expensive. I don't make much. I didn't resent any medical expenses when it was my wife, but I admit that I resent my stepdaughter. My own grown kids won't visit her with her around. If I hadn't made the deathbed promise, the decision would have been easy. And finally, I made the decision that I needed to put her in a state-run facility. As even with my wife leaving me and everything, I couldn't afford anything better. Now, family are calling me the evil stepdad and a mother's worst nightmare. Am I the asshole? All right, this is a ridiculously complicated scenario. This guy's in a rough predicament. His entire family's in a rough predicament. His life is just a just really tough to decipher predicament. And I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, he is obviously in a horrible predicament. His wife died. His daughter hates him for whatever reason. And she does have a severe medical disability that is just very rough. And he is in a pickle, so to say. And I think he's honestly, in this scenario, not the asshole because he doesn't have any other decision. Like he said, his daughter or his stepdaughter won't listen to him, and I don't think there's much he can do other than give it to a state facility. Like he said, he doesn't have money to really even help her in any sort of other way, like therapy or something, I assume. So in my opinion, I don't think he's the asshole. Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with me on that one? I don't know. This is a very complicated and deep one. So comment down below what you think about this one. But in my personal opinion, I don't think he's the asshole. Am I the asshole for bluntly explaining to my wife why our kids like me more than her? My wife has been complaining recently that our kids always seem to prefer spending time with me over her. They never go with her for anything they need. It's always me. I just answered that it's because I spend more time with them than she does. She stated that I don't, so I broke it down for her just point blank. Both kids are young and need parental supervision for everything. They wake up between 5:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. I am the one who gets up with them every single morning. Wife gets up at 7:30 a.m. weekdays and about 9 a.m. weekends. Low end, that's 13 and a half hours more I spend with them. I also do bedtime for both kids. That takes about 1 hour a night for baths and stories, etc. That's another 7 hours a week. Wife also says she gets stressed/touched out a lot. I often take the kids with me to the supermarket or to the park or something to let her have a long bath in peace or an afternoon nap. Probably around 3.5 hours a week if we also add in that I'm the one who takes the kids to all the extracurriculars and picks them up. She does not ever have the kids on her own. The longest she does is the time it takes me to have to shower and dress each morning. So I just broke it down plainly like above. I effectively spend a full actual day more a week with them. I didn't say it in any kind of moaning way or anything like that. I do actually really enjoy spending time with them, so I'm quite happy with the arrangement. I just feel like she can't complain that the kids don't want to spend time with her when she spends proportionally so much less time, her time with them. So am I the asshole for pointing this out? Edit and an update. Thank you all for the comments. I wasn't expecting this post to get anywhere near this traction, and I will read them all. Something I missed in my original post: work. We own a business together. We both work at it 5 days a week, 9:30 to 4:30. It's not stressful or particularly difficult work, as the business has got to the stage where we are able to take a step back and it mostly runs itself. Update. 18-month-old woke up at 5:30 this morning. It's now 7:30 and she's still in bed, so clearly our conversation had no impact. I don't really care or have any desire to change things because I quite like how they are, so I don't plan to push it. All right, so this one is pretty clearly another one. This guy's not the asshole. I don't think he's an asshole for just saying a pretty objective reason why the kids most likely like him. I mean, he said, I spent a whole day extra a week with them, like in time. And she clearly doesn't care about that. So she wasn't upset with him after he kind of blankly pointed out, because he said she was still in bed after that. And so maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she just is like, oh yeah, maybe he's right. So I don't think he's the asshole in this one. And he laid it out very factually, and that makes him not the asshole. Am I the asshole for telling a woman off after she asked me to put on clothes at a nude hot spring? I'm using a throwaway account because I'm not going to become known as the nude hot spring guy. So there's a natural hot spring only about an hour drive away from where I live. It's on public land in a relatively well-known hot spot. Get it? The hot spring explicitly allow for nudity, and there are signs up warning prudes who have complained for years that yes, people are allowed to be nude there. I've been going there about once a week recently, and every time I get nude. I like to go Sunday mornings because it's mostly empty. Last Sunday I arrived and stripped down as normal. There was another woman there who was using the springs as well, and I chatted with her for a bit. After about 20 minutes, another woman arrived and came over to talk to me. This woman explained her 3 kids were around the corner and wanted to use the hot spring. I could see them down the trail. They looked to be in the age ranges of 12 to 6. I was really confused because there was plenty of room still, so I told her, very confused, okay. She was trying to subtly tell me that she really wanted, but had to spell it out for me. She then asked me to get decent. I was just taken aback at first and told her no. I wasn't done using the spring yet, and I only had the clothes I was going to wear back home. She then told, not asked, me to leave so her kids could use the spring. This pissed me off, so I told her to go fuck herself, and we argued for a bit. She ended up storming off. The lady was in the hot spring got out and told me I'm an asshole, so I called her a bitch. I left about 20 minutes later and saw that the woman and her kids walked back to their car. I waved at her and said to enjoy the hot springs, and she flipped me off. While I was really angry in the moment, I'm starting to feel like I got dragged down to her level and made an ass out of myself. Opinions. All right, so In my opinion on this one, this guy is the asshole and kind of a creep. So if whoever posted this and somehow reads it to him, and I called you a creep, my bad. But it's if a woman or a mom is trying to enjoy some time with her kids at a hot spring, and you're saying you don't want to put clothes on, I understand it's a nude hot spring, but buddy, come on, put some damn clothes on and let the woman and her kids have a nice time. You don't need to be that pretentious about your nude hot spring. Like, come on. I think this guy's the asshole. What do you guys think down below? Because it's kind of weird. Like, put some damn clothes on if there's kids around. Am I the asshole for telling my husband that he needs to give me half his company if he wants me to be a housewife? My husband and I, who are both 35, have been married for 6 years, and we have 2 children together and 1 on the way. He said that he wanted me to be a housewife and stop working. I was very disturbed by that, but he explained that it was better for our family and children since he can afford very good living. After a few weeks thinking, I told him that I would agree, but only if I get half his company. He was surprised by this, but I explained further that the more I stay home, the less chance I would have to find a well-paying job should we ever divorce, because I would have less merits, while he would stay making more money each year. So I wanted half of the company. If we never divorce, which is the goal of all marriages, then it wouldn't matter, but should it end, it would be the price of me staying home and raising our children, so he should be less worried and stressed out. His words, that he should be less anxious and stressed out if he knew they were with me rather than with strangers in daycare or nannies. When I told my friends, they called me the asshole. My best friend was very angry and calling me disgusting, so I'm taken aback a little. This girl's the asshole, 100%. That is just unneeded. I feel like, they've been married for 6 years, have almost 3 kids, 1 on the way, or 2 kids, 1 on the way, but 3 in total. I don't think it's a crazy thing to ask her to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't know. Maybe she didn't even say she liked working. She was too worried about having money were they ever divorce. And then she went and said that, oh, well, the main point of all marriages is to get married and it lasts forever. But then she's worried about them getting a divorce. So she might have her priorities in the wrong scenario. Like, if you're not worried about divorce, then why are you worried about having money so that if you do get divorced, you have money? And I think it's just kind of a weird way for her to have control. So I think she's the asshole. And her best friend's calling her asshole and disgusting. So I think a lot of people do agree with me on that. And all right, guys, that wraps up Wild Am I the Asshole Reddit stories. This is my first video where I put my opinions in. It was probably sloppy. It probably sucked, but let me know how I can improve on my opinions. Should I interject it halfway through, or should I just leave it at the end and just say how I feel or what I thought about it? Let me know what you thought about it, but it was probably rough, a little bit sloppy. I just kind of freestyled it. So let me know down in the comments how I could improve that, how I could improve the videos, and what you like and what you don't like. And thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. And until next time, see ya.